Did we really need money, or did the world slowly back itself into a corner until someone had no choice but to stamp value into metal? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you three things. First, how trade and tax pressure, not clever markets, forced value into small metal tokens. Second, how rulers turned those tokens into a tool of control. And third, how the logic behind the first coins is still shaping the balance in your banking app today. This is the chronology of money. In the last episodes, we saw a world without coins. Trade worked through relationships, memory, and reputation. Then we watched debt become numbers, carved into clay tablets, measured in grain, oil, and silver. The system was already there. People were paying, borrowing, lending, taxing, but everything was still stuck in place. Value could not really travel on its own. A number on a tablet inside a temple told you what was owed, but it did not march with an army. It did not ride with a caravan. It did not cross the sea. It lived in a building, not in your hand. So the question is not, who woke up one morning and invented money? The real question is, what pressure built up for so long that at some point, turning value into small metal tokens started to look like the only sane option? To answer that, you have to picture a very specific kind of world. Forget the romantic village with a few farmers and a tiny market. Think bigger. Think border zones. Think busy ports. Think crossroads of empires. Western Anatolia, the coastlines facing the Aegean, was one of those crossroads. Caravans from the east, ships from the Mediterranean, local farmers, regional powers, all colliding in the same narrow strip of land. There was grain, wine, oil, wool, slaves, timber, metals. There were city-states, kingdoms, temples, and palaces, all wanting their cut. Now imagine the kind of arguments that were happening there every single day. A merchant arrives in a bustling market with a shipment of grain. Another arrives with ingots of a natural gold-silver alloy found in the local rivers. Someone else brings purple cloth, someone else wine, someone else hides. Each region uses slightly different weights, different measures, different habits. You put your metal on the scale. The buyer frowns. He says the alloy is not pure enough. He says the weight is off. He says his weights are official and yours are not. In a world like that, every deal is half trade, half fight. Behind all that noise sits a quieter problem. Nobody fully trusts anybody's measure. Value is there, but it is constantly contested, and the more complex trade becomes, the bigger that problem grows. This is the first key point. Before coins, the real crisis was not no money. It was no shared measure. Now add rulers into this picture. They are not just watching the markets. They are trying to tax them, to feed armies from them, to fund monuments with their surplus. For them, every dispute over weight and purity is not just a personal annoyance. It is a leak in the system. If every city uses its own stones on the scale, how do you calculate a kingdom-wide tax? If every region has its own way of checking metal, how do you pay soldiers far from home with anything other than bulky goods? This is where the pressure builds. At some point, someone in power does not just ask, how do we make trade easier? They ask, how do we freeze this chaos into something we control? So, first you get official weights. Standard stones, standard bars, standard ways of checking purity. That helps, but it only solves half the problem, because you still have to test every single piece. Then, an obvious but radical thought appears. What if you could pre-certify the metal? Take the alloy, melt it, cut it into pieces of fixed weight, stamp each piece with a mark that everyone recognizes, so that if you see that mark, you do not argue about purity, you do not argue about weight. The argument is finished before it begins. That is the moment when the idea of the coin becomes almost unavoidable. And notice something important here. The coin is not born first in the hands of a genius trader trying to save time. It is born in the overlap between rulers, metal workers, and markets, in a region where trade is heavy, taxes are high, and arguments are expensive. By the time a kingdom in Western Anatolia starts stamping powerful symbols onto electrum pieces, the ground has already been prepared. Metal has been used as payment. Ingots have been weighed. Local experiments with marks and punches have been tried. Many hands have touched the idea before it solidified. Those rulers did not wake up and invent value out of nowhere. They did something colder and more strategic. They looked at a messy situation and said, "Enough. From now on, these pieces, with this weight and this mark, will count as our unit of account. If you want to deal with us, you play by these numbers." In other words, the first coins are not really the birth of money. They are the moment when money stops being a conversation and starts being a command. Now put yourself in a story that could easily have happened at that time. A soldier in the service of a Western Anatolian king has just finished a long campaign. He has been paid before, sometimes in kind. Animals, grain, maybe a share of plunder. It is chaotic, hard to transport, hard to store. Half of it melts away between the battlefield and home. This time, his reward is different. He is called forward and handed a small leather pouch. Inside, there are a handful of heavy, oval pieces of pale metal, each with the same symbol pressed deep into its surface. No weighing argument, no haggling over quality, no need to drag a cart behind him. For the first time in his life, value feels dense. It fits in his hand. He does not need to know the king's debates with his advisors. He does not need to know the temple's accounting tables. He only needs to know one thing. People in the cities he passes through will accept these pieces because they recognize the mark and they fear the power behind it. That little story is not about one man. It is about a shift in how thousands of people start to experience value. On the other side of that exchange, something else is happening. The king knows that every coin he spends will eventually try to find its way back to him, as tax, as tribute, as fines, as offerings. As long as he demands coins in return, and as long as only his mint can legally produce them, the circle closes. From that moment on, the question, who made the first coins, is less interesting than who had enough power to make everyone else play along? Because the technology itself is simple. Melt, weigh, cut, stamp. You could teach it to a village craftsman. The hard part is forcing everyone to agree that this particular stamped piece means what you say it means. That is why the face on the coin matters so much. When you look at early coins, you often see animals, symbols, and later the heads of rulers and gods. It is easy to treat that as decoration, but it is more like a signature and a warning combined. Every coin whispers the same sentence. Somewhere behind this metal, there is an authority that will back it up and punish you if you fake it. Here's the second key point. Coins are not just units of value. They are portable pieces of obedience. Fast forward to now, and the picture has changed on the surface, but not underneath. Today, you probably do not get paid in small metal pieces. You see numbers appear in a banking app. You tap a card, you click a button, you move digits from one screen to another. The technology looks modern, but the structure is ancient. You still live in a world where someone else, somewhere else, defines the units in which your life is measured. An hourly wage, a daily rate, a salary divided by 12, a balance written in a currency you did not choose, under laws you did not write. If you have ever stared at your payslip and felt that a whole month of your life has been compressed into a single number, you already know this feeling. The first coins were the moment when that compression became visible, heavy, and cold. You could hold the system in your hand, feel its weight, and hear it clink. Today, it is quieter, locked behind glass and code. But the question is the same. Who turned other people's time, effort, and risk into small units they could control? Most people, when they think of the invention of money, imagine a clever solution to a neutral problem. Barter was clumsy, so we got coins, and everybody won. What the history actually suggests is much more uncomfortable. Pressure built up in trade and taxation until rulers, merchants, and metal workers had strong reasons to freeze value into standard tokens. Arguments over weight, purity, and measure were not just marketplace drama, they were obstacles to power. Coins did not fall from the sky as a gift to ordinary people. They rose out of a long series of fights about who gets to define value, and once they existed, they spread fast. This brings us to the third key point. The moment you accept someone else's coin, you are not just accepting their metal, you are accepting their measure of the world. In the next episode, We will follow those stamped pieces of metal as they leave the rivers and mints of one region and start to move along the great trade routes. We will watch how they ride with caravans and ships, how they meet silk, spices, and ideas, and how they help turn a patchwork of local markets into something that begins to look like a global system. Because the real story of money is not just about what we use to pay, it is about whose measure we live under. You have been watching The Chronology of Money. If this gave you a different way of looking at where coins actually came from, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and explore the other videos in the series.